Learning English by yourself feels like standing at the bottom of a mountain that everyone else has already climbed. You look around and see people speaking fluently, confidently, naturally, while you're struggling to form simple sentences. And in that moment, you might ask yourself, can I really learn English alone? The answer is yes, more than you think. Because the truth is, you don't need a fancy classroom, a private tutor, or expensive courses to become a confident English speaker. You need something far more powerful: the decision to show up for yourself every single day. Every great English speaker you admire today once sat alone, just like you, confused, nervous, unsure. They didn't know where to start, but they started anyway. And that is why they succeeded. Imagine this. 6 months from now, you're speaking English comfortably. You're watching movies without subtitles. You're understanding native speakers. You're expressing your ideas clearly. And all of it happened because one day, you chose to begin. English is not a talent. It's not a gift. It's a skill. And any skill can be learned if you follow the right steps. In this video, you're going to discover 8 simple but powerful steps that actually work. Steps that thousands of self-taught learners use to become fluent, confident, and unstoppable. If you've ever dreamed of speaking English naturally, this is your starting point. Let's begin your transformation right now. Step 1. Build your English world. Create full immersion. If you want to learn English by yourself, the most powerful and life-changing step, the one that separates fast learners from slow learners, is simple. You must build your own English world. Most learners wait for the perfect situation to appear. They think they need an English-speaking country, a native teacher, or a classroom to finally start improving. But the truth is, you don't need any of that. What you really need is immersion. The feeling of living inside the language even when you never leave your home. Today, English is everywhere. It's in your phone, your apps, your videos, your music. The moment you surround yourself with English deliberately, your learning speed doesn't just improve, it explodes. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't open textbooks or study grammar rules. They absorb the language because they hear it constantly from their environment. They listen, they imitate, they repeat, and slowly the language becomes a natural part of their life. You must recreate this environment for yourself. Start by transforming the digital world around you. Change your phone's language to English so every setting, notification, and menu becomes a tiny daily lesson. Watch English videos, even if you understand only a small portion at first, because your brain will adapt faster than you think. Listen to English songs, English podcasts, English speeches. Follow English-speaking creators, comedians, and motivational speakers so your social media feeds start speaking in English too. At the beginning, it will feel strange, maybe even frustrating. Your brain will want comfort. It will want your native language. But do not step back. That discomfort is the proof that your mind is expanding. Within days, your ears will get used to new sounds. Within weeks, you will recognize words automatically. Within months, you will start understanding sentences without translating. And this change doesn't require pressure or long hours. It happens naturally when you surround yourself with the language. This is the magic of immersion. When English becomes part of your daily world, learning stops feeling like study time. It becomes effortless. You start thinking in English, noticing pronunciation, picking up expressions, and feeling more confident every day. The language is no longer something you chase. It becomes something that lives with you. Start building your English world today, and watch how fast your fluency begins to rise. Step 2. Master the art of listening. Train your ear before your mouth. If you truly want to learn English by yourself, you must understand one truth. Listening is the doorway to fluency. Before you speak confidently, before you write clearly, before you even think in English, your ears must learn the music of the language. Most learners do the opposite. They rush to speak, rush to memorize, rush to translate. But fluent English doesn't begin with talking. It begins with listening. Your brain can only produce what it has already heard. So if you want to speak naturally, you must first train your ear to recognize natural English. Think of a baby. Before a child says their first word, they spend months simply listening. Their brain is absorbing rhythm, tone, stress, pronunciation, and everyday expressions, long before they ever open their mouth. You are no different. When you listen to English daily, your brain starts recognizing patterns automatically. You begin to understand how sentences flow, how words connect, how natives stress sounds. And the best part? You learn without effort. Listening is the most natural, stress-free learning method available. Start with simple, enjoyable listening. Short videos, daily conversations, vlogs, speeches, motivational clips. Choose voices you like, topics you love, and creators that inspire you. Even if you understand only 30% at the beginning, don't stop. Your brain is absorbing everything, sound by sound, phrase by phrase. Over time, you'll begin catching new words, then full sentences, then complete ideas. And one day, without realizing it, you'll understand English far better than before. When you listen consistently, something powerful happens. Your pronunciation improves without practice. Your speaking becomes smoother. You stop thinking word by word and start understanding meaning by meaning. You learn sentence, patterns, expressions, accents, and natural flow. Listening is not passive, it's transformational. Consistent listening rewires your brain to accept English as a familiar language, not a foreign one. This step is especially important for self-learners because you might not have English speakers around you. But if you train your ears every day, even for 10 minutes, you will start speaking more confidently than learners who study grammar for years. Listening builds intuition. It builds confidence. It builds fluency from the inside out. Make listening your daily habit. No pressure, no rules, just consistent exposure. If you can hear English every day, your speaking will follow naturally, and faster than you ever imagined. Step 3. Speak from day one. Break the fear before it controls you. If there's one thing that stops millions of people from learning English by themselves, it's fear. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of sounding wrong, the fear of being judged. But here's the truth no one tells you. You don't become fluent and then start speaking. You start speaking, and that's how you become fluent. Waiting for the perfect moment to open your mouth is the biggest trap for learners. If you don't speak early, your fear grows. But if you speak from day one, your confidence grows. Speaking is not about being perfect. It's about giving your brain permission to express itself in a new language. The more you speak, the faster your brain builds connections. Every sentence you try, Every mistake you make, every word you mispronounce becomes a stepping stone to fluency. Think of speaking like learning to ride a bicycle. You cannot read a book about bicycles and suddenly ride perfectly. You must wobble, balance, fall, and try again. Speaking English works the same way. Start small. Speak alone in your room. Speak in front of a mirror. Read English sentences out loud. Describe your day, your plans, your goals. In English. Record voice notes to yourself. Use apps or websites that allow voice practice. Shadow native speakers. Listen to a line of dialogue and repeat it as closely as possible. This single technique can transform your speaking skills faster than any textbook ever could. Don't worry if you sound slow or awkward. That's part of the process. Every fluent speaker you admire once sounded exactly the same. The biggest mistake learners make is staying silent for too long. Silence kills progress. The more you speak, the more your brain gets used to expressing ideas in English instead of translating them. And once your mouth becomes comfortable forming English sounds, your confidence skyrockets. You stop overthinking. You stop fearing judgment. You start enjoying the language instead of being scared of it. Remember, fluency is not built in your head. It's built with your voice. Speak boldly, unapologetically, imperfectly. Speak like no one is watching. Speak even when your voice shakes. Because every word you speak today becomes the confidence you carry tomorrow. Speaking from day one isn't just a technique, it's a mindset. And it's the mindset of every self-taught English speaker who becomes unstoppable. Step 4. Learn smart, not hard. Use the 20-80 method to focus on what really matters. Most people who try to learn English alone make one major mistake. They try to learn everything. They memorize endless vocabulary lists, study complicated grammar rules, and follow thick textbooks that kill motivation. But the truth is, you don't need to learn everything to speak English fluently. You only need to learn the few things that matter the most. This is where the 20-80 method becomes your superpower. It means you focus on the 20% of English that gives you 80% of real results. Think about successful English learners. They don't waste time. They don't chase every grammar rule. They don't fill notebooks with random words. They focus on what they actually need: common phrases, daily expressions, useful sentence patterns, and real-life vocabulary. When you learn smart, not hard, English stops feeling overwhelming and becomes simple, clear, and manageable. Start with high-frequency words, the words we use every single day. Words like get, make, go, need, want, take, give. These simple words appear in thousands of sentences. Learn how native speakers actually use them, and you will unlock a huge part of the language. Next, focus on common sentence patterns. For example, I want to, I need to, I'm going to. Can you? Mastering these patterns will help you express yourself in dozens of situations instantly. Skip the unnecessary complexity. You don't need advanced grammar to communicate. You need clarity, confidence, and consistency. When you focus on the most useful parts of English, your learning becomes faster and more practical. You can understand movies sooner. You can communicate in daily conversations. You can express your thoughts without getting stuck. The 20-80 method also saves your motivation. Instead of drowning in information, you make progress you can feel. You understand more. You speak more. You enjoy the language more. And that enjoyment is what keeps you going. Remember, Fluency is not about knowing everything. It's about using what you know effectively. Learn smart. Focus on the essentials. Cut out the noise. When you follow this approach, English stops being a mountain and becomes a clear path you can walk confidently. The more you simplify, the faster you grow. Step 5. Practice daily. Small consistency. Beats big effort. If there is one habit that guarantees English fluency, one habit that separates people who improve from those who quit, it is consistency. Not perfection, not studying for long hours, not memorizing hundreds of words in one night. The real secret is showing up every single day, even if it's only for 10 minutes. Most learners fail not because English is hard, but because they stop too soon. They study for a few days, feel motivated for a week, then disappear for a month. Language doesn't grow that way. Fluency is built through small, steady steps, repeated over and over, until English becomes a natural part of your life. Think of English like brushing your teeth. You don't brush for 2 hours once a week. You brush for a few minutes every day. That's how habits are formed. The same rule applies to language. When you practice daily, your brain stays connected to English. You remember more. You forget less. You start thinking faster. You understand easier. Every small session creates momentum, and momentum creates results. Even if you're busy, tired, or stressed, those 5 to 10 minutes still count. They keep your English alive. Daily practice doesn't mean studying like a school student. It means interacting with the language in simple, natural, enjoyable ways. Watch a short video. Listen to one podcast episode. Read a paragraph from a book or article. Practice one conversation sentence. Review a few words. Speak out loud while walking or doing chores. These tiny moments add up more than you think. One day of practice is small, but 30 days create transformation. Most people underestimate the power of tiny daily habits. They believe progress must be dramatic to be meaningful. But language learning is a quiet process. You don't notice the improvement day by day. You notice it when one morning you understand a movie scene you couldn't understand before, or when you speak a full sentence without translating, or when someone compliments your English unexpectedly. That is the reward of consistency. Daily practice builds confidence. Confidence builds fluency. And fluency builds opportunities. No matter how slow you go, you are always moving forward as long as you keep going. Remember, consistency is not about doing a lot. It's about never stopping. Practice a little every day, protect your momentum, and watch English slowly, but surely, become part of who you are. Step 6. Think in English. Stop translating. Start transforming. One of the biggest breakthroughs in learning English by yourself comes when you stop translating every sentence in your head and finally begin thinking directly in English. Translation is the silent enemy of fluency. It slows you down, confuses your mind, and makes speaking feel heavy and stressful. But once you train your brain to think in English, everything changes. You understand faster. You speak smoother. You express ideas more naturally. Thinking in English is not just a skill. It is the moment English becomes part of you, not something you study. Most learners don't realize this, but thinking in English is not something you start doing suddenly. It happens gradually, step by step, through small mental habits you build every day. The first step is simple. Start naming things around you in English. When you see a cup, say cup. When you walk outside, think street, sky, wind, car. These tiny thoughts begin to rewire your brain. Next, start describing your actions. I'm eating. I'm cleaning. I'm walking to work. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be in English. The more you do this, the more your brain gets used to forming ideas without your native language. You will notice moments when English thoughts come naturally, without effort. That is the beginning of real fluency. The goal is not thinking perfectly. The goal is thinking continuously. Even simple 2- or 3-word thoughts build mental speed. Another powerful technique is to stop looking for perfect English words and start using the words you already know. If you don't know the exact word, find another way to say it. This is what fluent speakers do all the time. Perfection is not the target. Communication is. When you express ideas using simple language, your brain becomes flexible. It learns how to work with English instead of depending on translation. Thinking in English also helps reduce fear while speaking. When your brain is already forming English ideas, speaking becomes natural. You no longer pause to translate. You no longer freeze. Words come out smoother because your brain is already in English mode. This step takes patience, but the transformation is worth it. Every English thought is a seed. And when you think in English long enough, those seeds grow into fluency. Keep practicing, keep thinking, and soon English will no longer be a subject you study. It will be a language you live. Step 7. Track your progress. Measure to stay motivated and keep growing. The final step to mastering English by yourself is something most learners ignore, yet it may be the most important: tracking your progress. When you learn alone, it's easy to feel lost. You start questioning yourself. Am I improving? Am I wasting time? Am I good enough? These doubts destroy motivation faster than anything else. But when you track your progress, you see proof, real evidence, that you are moving forward. And this evidence keeps you motivated, confident, and unstoppable. Progress never feels big in the moment. Day by day, you may think nothing is changing. But when you look back at your old recordings, old notes, or old mistakes, you suddenly realize how far you've come. Tracking your growth turns learning into a journey you can see, not just feel vaguely. It becomes your fuel. It becomes your reminder that small steps truly work. Start simple. Record your voice once a week. Talk for 1 minute about your day, your goals, or your favorite topic. Don't worry about mistakes. Don't try to sound perfect. Just talk. After 1 month, listen to your first recording. You will be shocked at the difference. Your words will flow more smoothly. Your confidence will be stronger. Your pronunciation will be clearer. This single habit can transform the way you see your progress. You can also write short daily or weekly journals in English. Even a few sentences are enough. Over time, you will notice your sentences becoming longer, your vocabulary becoming richer, and your ideas becoming easier to express. This written record becomes your personal story of improvement. Another powerful method is tracking the hours you spend with English. You don't need to be strict. Just note down the days you listened, spoke, read, or practiced. Seeing that you practice 20 days in a month builds confidence. It reminds you that you are consistent, disciplined, and committed. Tracking progress is not about judging yourself. It's about celebrating your journey. Every struggle, every mistake, every small improvement deserves recognition. When you measure your growth, your motivation stays alive. You push yourself harder. You believe in yourself more. You begin to understand that fluency is not a dream. It is a process, and you are already walking the path. Track your progress, celebrate your wins, trust the process, and keep going. Because every day you show up, you are becoming the English speaker you always wanted to be. Step 8. Surround yourself with English speakers. Connect, interact, and learn naturally. If you want to accelerate your English learning, one of the most powerful steps is to surround yourself with people who speak English. Even if you are learning by yourself, you don't have to be alone. Interaction is the fastest way to improve fluency because it forces you to listen, respond, and think in real time. When you practice with other English speakers, native or learners alike, you discover what works, what doesn't, and how language is used naturally, beyond textbooks and grammar rules. Start by joining online communities or social media groups where people communicate in English. Platforms like language exchange apps, Facebook groups, or discussion forums give you a safe space to practice. Don't worry about being perfect. Speak, type, comment, ask questions, and respond. Each interaction strengthens your vocabulary, boosts your confidence, and makes your thinking in English faster. Another effective method is finding a language partner. Choose someone with a similar level, or a little higher than you. Commit to short daily or weekly conversations. Discuss your day, your hobbies, or your dreams. The repetition of natural conversation teaches pronunciation, rhythm, and sentence structure far better than memorizing phrases alone. The key is consistency. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day of real interaction can produce massive improvements in your fluency. You'll notice that your sentences flow more smoothly, your confidence grows, and your fear of making mistakes fades. Real-life practice teaches nuances of tone, humor, slang, and expressions that no textbook can provide. Remember, language is made to communicate. The sooner you connect with other English speakers, the sooner English becomes a living part of your life. Interaction challenges you, motivates you, and makes learning exciting. Surround yourself with English, speak boldly, listen actively, and watch your self-taught journey transform into real-world fluency faster than you ever imagined. Your English journey starts today. Learning English by yourself is not easy, but it is completely possible and more powerful than you think. The key is not talent, luck, or spending thousands on courses. The key is consistency, smart strategies, and belief in yourself. Every fluent English speaker you admire started exactly where you are now, confused, hesitant, unsure. What set them apart was the decision to begin, to take one step every day, and to never give up. The 7 steps we've discussed: building your English world, training your ear through listening, speaking from day one, learning smart with the most useful words and phrases, practicing daily, thinking in English, and tracking your progress are not complicated. They are practical, actionable, and designed for anyone who is willing to start. Follow them faithfully, and your confidence will grow. Your understanding will deepen. Your ability to speak, write, and think in English will transform. Remember, fluency does not come overnight. It comes from daily effort, small wins, and persistence. Every sentence you speak, every phrase you memorize, every minute you practice adds up. The process may feel slow at times, but it works. What matters is that you start today and keep going tomorrow and the day after. English is more than a language. It's a skill that opens doors, creates opportunities, and changes lives. Your journey to fluency begins now. Commit to these steps. Take action every day. And in months from today, you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. The power to speak English confidently is in your hands. Grab it.